Hello and welcome to Parks Veterinary Introductory to Training Collars video. In this video we're going to go over collars that can be left on your dog and some that can be used for training purposes. So to start, we'll go over your regular collars. This is an example of a regular collar. It's made of nylon. You can find it in almost any place, Walmart, Tractor Supply, Orson's, anything like that. And this is more of a woven material. The type of collar that my dog is wearing is made of rubber and it has a nameplate on it. These collars are fitted so that your fingers can go under the collar, but they cannot slip over the dog's ears, and that's the appropriate tightness for these collars to fit. They can be worn at all times. These collars, you can put name tags on it, owner information, rabies tag, city license tag, stuff like that, and they can stay on all the time. The following collars that we're going to show should never be left on your dog, especially if they're unattended and kenneled or anything outside of training. They're for training purposes only. First, we'll start with what's called the martingale collar. And you'll see that it's also made of nylon, such as your normal nylon collar, but on the back of it, it has a chain ring for attachment to a leash. So with this collar, it's going to fit. This is a little bit big for this dog, but I want it to sit right here under the chin, and I would attach my leash here. Now, when my dog would pull, I would make a light little correction. You could almost hear it there with that chain, and that should help them go to the appropriate place when you're working on your training. Now, this type of collar, like I said before, cannot be left on your dog. It should only be on when you're training, going for walks and stuff like that. This is for dogs that very lightly pull. I wouldn't advise this for really super big dogs. Now, let's move on to what's called a gentle leader. Now, this collar works a little bit different than, say, most of these that kind of go around the neck. This one is going to work more on the facial pressure. So I'm going to put this on my dog as an example. So you're going to put the loop over your dog's face in the nose, and it's kind of padded there. So you're going to put that over their nose, and it comes up and it hooks actually behind their ears. So we'll hook this up here. Of course, we're having issues. There we go. Perfect. All right. Now, you notice that it sits basically kind of in front of your dog's eyes, and it has a little bit of pressure to it. And then this one sized appropriately because it's not pressuring when she's not doing anything. And then it has this here that adjusts the length, and you hook your leash on the bottom side of it. So you have a normal leash with a clip on it. And when you make corrections, when you're walking your dog with this type of leash, you make corrections downward instead of upward. This is for dogs that are pulling that greatly outsize you. This works for certain dogs if you aren't able to make corrections. So elderly walking dogs, small children walking dogs, this one tends to work a little better. This isn't a great alternative for dogs that are super pullers. It's not going to make huge corrections. But it does kind of adjust for people that aren't able to make really strong corrections for them because it works on the pressure of their nose and how that releases. Next, we'll talk about choke chain collars. So this can be a little bit scary. It's basically, this is the smallest gauge of choke chain that you can get. This would be for like small breed dogs, so I would say 40 pounds and under. This is what this gauge would look like. So to get it to turn into a collar, you kind of put it into itself. All right, perfect. And you have to put it on your dog a certain way. So depending what side of your body you want your dog to be on, I use my hand as an example. So if my dog always walks on the right side of me, I'm gonna have my hand here, I put the chain over it, and how I attach the leash should be I make a correction and then it falls loose. Now, if I put this on my dog upside down, I'll make a correction and it won't loosen. And that's actually pretty dangerous for your dog, and that's why they call it a choke chain, because if used inappropriately, it can have some damaging effects. But same thing, if you're gonna do it on your left side, pretend this is my dog's head, put it on, okay, good, and it loosens. So it should always slip on that way so that the bottom half comes off. So the straight part should always go on top of your dog's neck. And that can be pretty confusing. But these are a great training tool. These are probably one of the middle range training tools, and probably one of my favorite. When we're talking about different gauges, and I'm not sure if you can see from that distance. So you'll see that there are 3 different gauges: small, medium, large. Now, your large gauge ones like this that are super heavy, that's for dogs that are over 70 pounds. So your large breed dogs, Rottweilers, Great Danes, Great Pyrenees, anything with a really thick neck, you're going to use a larger gauge chain. Now, say you have a 50-pound German Shepherd, they don't necessarily need that big of a chain, even though it just looks kind of cool. Use what's appropriate for your dog. This middle grade chain would be for like border collies, 50-pound dogs, 60-pound dogs, labs, pointers, stuff like that. It fits them appropriately. So to measure what size chain and length you would do, I know it's kind of scary. You take and you measure actually around the skull himself, because this is the thickest part the chain has to sit around. And I want there to be at least 2 inches of slack. So let's say, I already know this chain is going to be big for my dog. So I put this over her face. Great. Okay. Now, I want it to fit pretty much above, right here on the chin, so it fits kind of right behind their skull. Perfect. So this is too much slack. That's about 4 inches. I only want 2 inches of slack because I make a correction and it loosens. I don't want my dog to be able to back up and get completely out of it super easy. So try to make it appropriate, the length, so that you only have about 2 to 3 inches, not 4 inches or above. Otherwise, your dog's going to slip out of your leash pretty easy. And last but not least, we have prong collars. Now, here we have 2 different examples of prong collars. It's the same, your gauges get bigger the size of the dog. But it's all about in how they fit. Now this prong collar opens with a nylon buckle. This is for people that have arthritis in their hands. You can't take out all of these little prongs all the time. With this, you're just gonna slip it over your dog's face when it's open. Okay, tighten it up behind under their chin, and then you close it. Now, if you have problems, now we're getting caught on some hair a little bit here. If you have problems with your prong collar not sitting in the right spot, take off your regular collar, because I want it to sit up higher underneath my dog's neck. And it should basically just sit on it lightly. So if you have this on your dog's neck and the prongs are willy-nilly loose or they're way down here, then take some of these prongs out so that it fits tighter up on their head. It's going to be easier for you, and it's going to make better, more appropriate corrections. And inevitably, you won't even have to be on this kind of collar forever, okay? Same with this type of collar. So it is a prong collar as well. The difference is this is 1, a heavier gauge, and 2, it has a chain behind it. So there's 2 different chains. You can see a loop here, and this one has a swivel. This is the one that you would attach your leash to. Now, it's to be the same idea, is you want it to sit basically up here around under your dog's ears. To open this, you open your prongs, okay? You don't open it where it connects back here. You open it kind of somewhere in the front, in the middle. And then you attach your leash, and we work on heeling. So pick a side for your dog to be on, and be consistent when you're starting your training. And try all of these training collars on at your house where it's safe, where your pet knows its environment, it feels safe. Because I promise you, the first time you put on a training collar, they're gonna freak out. And that's okay, that's appropriate, and it happens to every dog. Just give them some time to acclimate, because you pretty much just changed everything about how you're guiding them. So, happy training, good luck. If you have any questions, please call us here at Parks Veterinary.